Hello, everyone. Welcome here. Welcome. It is nearly the end of October. No, wrong. It is nearly the end of September. It is nearly October. And I'm in a good mood today. The sun is shining. And even though it's the end of September, I went to the beach yesterday. Okay. So that is nice. That is what I like to see. But because it is the end of September, it is time to show you the books that I've read in the past 30 days or so. Actually, a lot more than 30 days now that I'm looking at my stack. I finished some big ones this month, so it's going to look like a lot, but it's been spread out. But let's start with a fun one. Murder Must Advertise by Dorothy L. Sayers. Now, this is my first Dorothy L. Sayers detective novel, and it is very different from, say Agatha Christie, Wilkie Collins. At first, I was very confused. There are so many names and so many details, I had no idea what was going on. This book also is the podcast, The Literary Life, is as I am recording this, currently doing this book. So I've listened to only the first episode of this book. And even that was so helpful because they also said they were confused. And that made me feel good. I think it's meant to be confusing. So next time I read this, I think I will enjoy it more because I will be allowed to be confused at the beginning. But the mystery was fun. And there is also so much around the mystery. The main thing in these books doesn't seem to be solving the mystery, but there's so much stuff around it. Like if you read an Agatha Christie, all you're really doing the whole time is thinking, who did it? How do I figure this out? Everything feels like a little hint. This felt like there were lots of musings and lots of commentary on other things, and it felt bigger than just the mystery. And I like that. And I think it'll make rereading really good. I'm excited to listen to the rest of the podcast. I'll link it down below so you can also listen to it because they will say much more intelligent things about this book than I'm able to. But it was fun. I read it very quick. Usually I read with the podcast just the chapters for the week. But I just got carried away with this one. I couldn't hold back. So finished it really quickly. Glad I read Dorothy L. Sayers' detective fiction. It's a Lord Peter Wimsey mystery. Should I put them back here so you can take a little peek? Meh. Okay. Let's do this one next. So this month, as I announced last month that I was going to do, I did. I finished the Iliad. This was the final month that my book club was reading it. And let me tell you, having a big group of people that have to hold you accountable to read something hard is very helpful. You get it done. You read it. We read this over 3 months, which felt a good amount of time. 8 books every month. And this last section of the Iliad was my favorite so far. And I think that's because I could finally follow what was happening. I knew all the characters. I knew all their names. They all have 3 names. I knew which characters are important to follow. And you're excited to kind of see what's going to happen or how it's going to play out. You're used to hearing the rhythm. You're used to the way that Homer is speaking. So it's a lot easier to follow what's going on and appreciate what's going on. The next time I read this, it's going to be very... I think it's going to be, obviously way better than the first half. I had no idea what was happening, really. Very loosely. I had to read a summary, and then I read it, and then I read another summary. And by the end, there's a few books that I didn't even read the summary for, and I still knew what was happening. So it was very exciting. And it didn't feel that hard by the end. The start felt so hard, and beginning felt hard. But it's actually just kind of a silly, wild, intense war story. Like, I kind of feel like teenage boys just messing around, partially. It also has like a lot of really impressive use of language and images, and like there's a lot going on here. I've barely scratched the surface, but it's not as scary as one thinks, and you can definitely do it with a friend. You can definitely do it. I really enjoyed this. I am so glad to have finally read it the first time. And I'm excited to read it again. And I'm excited to read the Odyssey now. I think reading the Odyssey will be much... Like, I feel like I've broken down a lot of walls for myself by reading this. And so when it comes to the Odyssey, I think that I will have just... I'll be a lot more prepared. So the Iliad. It feels like a celebration. It feels like a celebration. I did it. Okay. Next book. Okay, next book is another one that I have been reading for quite some time. And that is Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I say his name a little different every time. You let me know, Russian scholars out there, how one actually pronounces it. Anyway, this, I was reading about a chapter a week for a few months. When did I start this? Maybe March or April. I could look. Anyway, whatever, a while ago, quite a few months ago. And I was excited at the beginning, and then partway through, I started losing steam. I was a little lost in the story. Some of the details I wasn't remembering. I know it would take me a bit to get into it every time I would sit down to read a chapter. Sorry, battery died, I'm back. Yes, I was losing steam reading this, and I thought I need to pick up the pace because I was starting not to care, and I wanted to care, and I knew that there was lots of good things in here. People love his writing. I didn't realize how popular he was until I started going to my local used bookstores and asking for him. And the booksellers, like, one of them almost laughed at me as if he's like, you think I have that in stock? It's people buy it immediately. Anyway, sorry, didn't know. But people love him for a reason, and I wanted to find out that reason. And so I was like, I need to pick up the pace a little. So I started, and I got into it. And I'm telling you, the more I got into it and read it regularly, my interest was piqued. Okay? It caught my attention, and I couldn't put it down. I mean, I think the end of the novel tends to push you that way anyway, but I needed to read it a bit quicker. That being said, what things did I love about it? This book feels very unique and creative, but also so rooted in the literary tradition. I haven't read anything like it. The way that Dostoevsky can write, I guess, kind of interiority, and the way you're following this man, you're so captivated by his mind, but also it doesn't feel way out in left field. It feels like it's speaking true things about humanity. And the thing that struck me the most, perhaps, was, a little spoiler warning. Spoiler warning, skip ahead 30 seconds, okay? So this book is about a murderer, okay? And I thought the book was gonna build up and build up and build up and build up, and there would be a big murder at the end. But that's not at all what happens. The murder happened right at the beginning. And I was like, what? Caught me off guard. And I was wondering, what is the rest of the book possibly going to be about? I felt like that was the climax. And then I realized what a fool I am. If the murder was the climax, then where would the resolution be? And that's the whole point, you know? So the murder happens at the beginning, and then the rest of the book is Raskolnikov grappling with this thing he did. And we often pass off, people do a crime, we label them murderer, and that's it. But because you're inside his head, you realize, oh, he's also still a human being, and he's still having all these really, one, normal life experiences, but also grappling with this wild thing he's done. And it's very interesting and fascinating. And I highly recommend. I do highly recommend. This was better than I thought it was going to be, is the truth. Better than I thought it was going to be, and it was good. Crime and Punishment. So, what a stack. Are you kidding me? What a month. What a month, I dare say. Okay, now we come to the denouement of the denouement. Okay? Now this book is one, what is it? That has been on my shelf for a long time. I had known about it, and I thought that could be interesting to read. It seems good. And then I found it in a box on the side of the road. I said, must be fate. So I picked it up, and then it's been on my shelf for probably a year or so. And that book is Atonement by Ian McEwan. Now, it is a contemporary book, but I felt drawn to it. And there is a chance that I just do not understand this book. But I do think I was disappointed. The first half just felt like very tantalizing, if you will. It felt like the writing was just trying to make you want these two characters to have sex. And that seemed like the point. And I was like, okay. It just felt very not like a love story that you want to happen, but more like you want to be kind of creepy and watch. You know what I'm saying? It felt very tantalizing. And I said, is that all this has to offer? And then the second half, one of the guy gets arrested and he goes to war. It just sort of ends. I'm mostly confused, and it doesn't feel like something I want to reread. And I don't think I'm ever going to reread it. And so because of that, I don't think it was good. My initial gut instinct. But I'm also open to someone telling me why it's good, because maybe I just don't understand. But Atonement, Ian McEwan, I don't think it was for me. Okay, and honestly, you don't deserve to be on top. You can be on the bottom. But then it seems like you're the foundation. I don't know what's better. But these three bangers, clear banger. See, that's it. When I come across a book like this where I'm uncertain, and I can't exactly put my finger on what it is about it that I don't love yet. I think maybe there's something good. Maybe I don't know. How do I judge this? But then I look at the other three that are just so clearly incredible. And I think if you're not clearly incredible, maybe even if you have some good things, why wouldn't I just stick with what's clearly incredible? Maybe that's my current philosophy. I don't know. Anyway, those are the books I read in September. I'll put the good ones, aka these guys, in my storefront. So if you don't have a copy and you're going to order it online, consider buying there to support independent bookstores in the US and in the UK. Sorry, Canada, I know. In October, what's it looking like in October? I am reading Dracula. I've already started, and so far it is very good. Which is a lot because I'm only read the first chapter, but I'm very, very excited. It's a Victorian novel, and the thing that got me the most excited when I started reading it was the intro to my book. Has a bunch of information, and it has a chronology of Bram Stoker's life, and he was born in Dublin. And maybe you don't know this about me, but I am a little obsessed with the Irish. They just produce such fascinating art. It's an island of magical wonder, is the truth. And he was born in Dublin. He was friends with the Wildes, Oscar Wilde's family. And I was like, no wonder. And so I just know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be good. I'm very excited for that. I've also been putting some more steam into the KJV. I feel renewed. I feel like finishing Crime and Punishment renewed my vigor for my pile of books beside my couch. They were kind of weighing me down for a second. And then I realized, actually, they're light as a feather. And I just need to read them. So I've been reading... Yes, I'll be reading more KJV this month. Just a beautiful world. It's a beautiful world. Those are my two main books. I might pick up a couple other spooky bits on the way. Oh, I think the podcast at the end of October is doing The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel L. Coleridge. So I will be getting to that. I might read, I'm thinking maybe like Coraline, I'm thinking maybe Lolly Willows, I'm thinking maybe a little Turn of the Screw. I'll go through and see what I have that's gothic, but October will be a great reading month, I'm sure. Please let me know what you're reading. What did you read last month? What are you currently working on? Any bops, any flops? And have a lovely day. Have a lovely day. Read a good book. See you next time.